We are back to the fun stuff. This is probably going to be a video that a lot of people would want to see versus some of my other vlogs. This is like a more sought after topic. We're going to talk about how I transitioned from electrical engineering to software development. Yes. So no, I don't have a computer science degree. What I did do was I joined a learning platform called boot.dev, and pretty much I went through that about a year or two prior. I was going through all the modules, and in the meanwhile I was building my own side projects. So I built like a meme generator, I built a front end web application, no, full stack web application with Pokemon, where it was really rudimentary, where you'd be able to just pick a Pokemon from the Pokemon API and it would load the sprite, and you could save that to an account that you made, and then you could just log back in and see that Pokemon. It was called Favorite Pokemon app. And yeah, I basically built that. That was my first full stack app. And as I kept building these things, I started to gain momentum. So I got more comfortable using React, JavaScript. My first language was actually C++. So here, let me show you guys. Actually, let me show you. I have the actual relic. This is my first programming book. C++ Primer Plus. As you can see, it's all fallen apart. The pages and shit are falling out. Look at the spine. It's pretty much fucking broken at this point. So what I did here was when I first started learning programming, I was like, okay, this is the kind of approach I took with electrical engineering too. It's like, let's pick the hardest fucking language that no one wants to learn, and let's try and figure that one out first. So I picked C++ because I knew everyone said they hated it. So I'm like, okay, if everyone hates it, there's probably no competition here. So first thing I did was I bought that book, and then I learned it because I went on LinkedIn and I looked at a bunch of people that were software developers, and this one lady got some job at Google. So I just asked her, I'm like, okay, how'd you get this job? And she's like, I just did C++ Primer Plus, read the book, understood C++, and then because there's no competition here, I kind of got in that way. I'm like, oh, cool, light bulb, ding. Like, I was like, why don't I just do the same thing? So I bought that book, and then I must have read each chapter of that book about 10 times because I never knew shit about programming like to a high level. I knew like PLC programming, I knew how to do relay logic gates, but I wasn't good as a programmer. I didn't understand. I couldn't even do a for loop at the time. And C++ is very, very syntax heavy. It's very, very particular about where everything is placed. You have to tell, you have to specify how much memory is used, the type. You have to put semicolons at the end of everything. You have to declare and create your variables, how much memory is going to be used, free the memory if you're using pointers and shit like that. So I got a very deep understanding of how the programming language works at a high level. So how can you create a script? And I was always in my mind now thinking, okay, how much memory do I need for this? How much, like what kinds of objects do I need? What kind of structures do I need? What kinds of data types do I need to use? Because in C++ you have to know all that. Do I need to use an object? How do I construct? What would I use in the constructor? Do I have to preload things? And like that's the mentality I had going into this. So then when I started moving to easier languages like JavaScript, where all that shit is abstracted away and it's loosely typed and it doesn't fail at compile time, you just shove everything in a try catch, it became easy because like I picked the hardest language to start. So I must have read every chapter in this book like 10 times each. And I would do all the exercises in the book. So I did every exercise in this book, and basically when I couldn't do one, I would just reread the whole chapter again. And that's why I kept reading like 10 times. So that's how I got into pointers. That took me like a bunch of weeks to figure out. Just kept rereading the chapter. And if you can see here, if you look closely, it's like underlined and shit. Like I have my own notes in the book. I would write in the book. I'd eat, sleep, and breathe this book until I understood exactly what I was doing and how to do everything in this book. And then I read it cover to cover, and basically once I understood that, like the other programming languages were very, very easy to understand. So like now that you know what a data type is, now that you know what an array is, now you know how to use strings, now that you know how to create a pointer, now that you know how to execute things in sequential steps and think programmatically, then writing shit in JavaScript was easy. It was easy. You slap some CSS on there and make it look pretty. So I did that, built a few apps, like small scale apps, built a Chrome extension, and I started building a small little portfolio for myself. So that took about a year. That was my first year doing that. So I was just doing whatever I could. And then on the way, I had friends that kind of had their own apps, had their own ideas and projects they were working on. So I'd kind of tag along and be like, hey, where can I fill in this project? I know there's probably some grunt work that you don't want to do. And if you guys watched my previous video on what I did in electrical engineering, I did a lot of grunt work initially for the first 2 years. So I'm used to doing grunt work. I play RuneScape. So I'm used to grinding. I'm used to doing repetitive tasks. So I'm like, yo, do you have any grunt work for this? And then that's how I kind of got my feet wet with front end development. So they started giving me like UX, UI stuff. It was like, okay, create this screen, create the functionality for the screen, just on the front end. So the first thing I did was, my first one was like I had to design a button that would match the Figma design. And that was in Flutter. I never used Flutter before, but with C++, I understood how an object worked. I knew how inheritance worked. I knew how... So Flutter is basically all objects and widgets, and you inherit from an object, and you get context, or you get a prop, and you drill it down to the component that uses that prop. So I started learning about state management. I started learning about the different types of frameworks of how to design and style. So I used a bit of Bootstrap here and there, did a little bit of mobile, a little bit of web apps. So just on different friends' projects. Started watching a few YouTubers, looking into open source. So I found some open source projects and met some people, made some connections. And then I kind of stumbled upon Boot Dev about like maybe 2-ish years in. To this, I was working my normal day job as an electrical engineer and just like studying software at night casually. I took it seriously in the third year, where I kind of went through all the course modules. So then I started doing leak codes in Python. I could do leak codes in C++, leak codes in JavaScript. So I was doing leak codes. I was doing the boot.dev course modules. So I learned about Python, learned about backend development, how to use an API properly, how to set one up, how to make a request, how to use Git, how to upload projects and stuff. So like I got a little bit of exposure here and there. And then what I did next was, once I got enough exposure, I was kind of also trying to find roles and find tasks in electrical engineering that would give me some little scrape of experience. So I was like scraping, like I was like clawing at experience, like where can I get this tiny program? I was asking my boss whenever there was an opportunity to program. I'd be like, can I write a script for this? Can I write a script for the PLC? Can I write a script for this elevator controller? Right? Anything where I could touch a piece of code, I would kind of try and incorporate that into my work life, so that way it would kind of add to the experience I was studying at night. And then I was getting small little exposures that way, nothing too crazy, no full-scale app, no Nothing crazy like that yet, but I was studying. I was getting the knowledge in the meanwhile, right? So fast forward, I'm coming to the end of my role in an electrical engineering job, and I just decided, okay, I have enough exposure, did all the course modules in boot dev, have a bit of projects here and there, and then I just decided I haven't taken a vacation actually in 6 years at that point, almost since 2018. I never took a vacation because I was always trying to progress in my career as an electrical engineer. So I would always just work, study textbooks at night, and take in overtime hours to get as much money as I could to save, to like pay for my house and car and bills. Because at 24ish, when I moved out my parents' house, I was kind of on my own. I was already paying my phone bill and stuff like that when I was living with my parents, but they never made me pay rent or anything. So when I moved out, I had to get enough money to pay for like rent and like all that other kind of stuff. So I was just taking on overtime, as much hours as I could get. So I didn't really take vacation days. I would actually be happy if people took theirs, so I could get extra shifts, extra hours whenever I could. If I could fill in, that really added to the experience. It kind of fast tracked my experience in electrical and gave me opportunities that other people may not have gotten because they didn't put in that much time. Don't regret any of it. But fast forward to my software journey. When I came towards the end of my electrical engineering role in 2024, I took a vacation for the first time. So me and my dad went to Scotland and Ireland, and for about a week and a bit. And it was fun. Like, we went to all the pubs, the bars there. We have a cousin that's there as well in Europe that was also in the area, so we met them. Did a few tours. So I finally got to let loose for a bit, and while I was there, I was just thinking, maybe it's time I go all into software when I get back. I didn't even tell my dad I quit. He kind of found out after. Like, I paid for all our like excursions and dinners and stuff. It was fun. Like, me and my dad got to chill and spend father-son time after a long time, because we never really got to chill like that, because even throughout school, like we were kind of I was pretty much in a single father household. My dad remarried and stuff, so like he was always working pretty much, and then my mom would take care of us, and then like my parents did a lot and shit, but like they were always working. So my stepmom worked, my dad worked, and they were always just working. So like this was the one time like me and him just went together, spent a week together just like that, and it was good. So at that point I was just thinking, okay, we put in all this time studying, and electrical engineering, it's good. It's awesome. I love it still. I love it to this day. I loved every single minute that I spent as an working in electrical engineering, doing design PCB, doing PLCs, doing field service. I loved all of it. It was fun, right? But I needed to also keep up with modern day tech, and modern day tech is all software. So I was like thinking while I was on the trip, I'm like, okay, when I get home, I'm going all in on software development. I'm going all in, taking all the knowledge I learned, all the mini apps, the web development apps, the mobile screens and everything I've done, the Chrome extension that I built, and I'm gonna go all in. So I built a website for myself. Interestingly enough, I paid about $200 because I got the 2-year plan, and I got it on something with Namecheap, but I got hosting. Then I ended up using Vercel later because I found out it was free and you could do CI/CD, so you could make a branch and make changes to that branch while keeping your site live. So I built my own portfolio page. So I uploaded all my projects that I built in the past on there. A friend also had a current project that I was working on, so I had some open source projects that I was working on at the time. So I did that. I was building my own side projects as well. So I had like app ideas, built a And what I did too was I incorporated a strategy for interviews. So whenever a company would give me some sort of an interview test, so they like build this app as a take home project, I would build it to completion. So I would take the project further, add features to it, and make it a full scale app, and then add that to my portfolio page. That way, A, if it works out, I get hired. B, if I don't, I get a free exposure that I could just list as a project on my portfolio page. And yeah, that's kind of what I did. Here, I'll even show you the page. Let me see. Let me open that up. So this is my page. And basically, it didn't look like this in the beginning. So every time I did an interview, as you can see this projects thing, I first started by adding the stuff I already did. So let's just go through it. It's got smooth scroll and everything. This is the page at a high level. Frameworks and stuff I use. This is all the languages I know now. I created my course. So for example, if I go to this, I built this course in 2022. I have 529 students now, 4.5 stars. This is an Arduino course in C++, going back to this book. So I took that and like made a little product, made a bit of money on it. Then I turned it free because people just want to learn, and I don't believe in gatekeeping knowledge like that, which is why I made this video as well. Got my socials, so I made x.com, email, Udemy, the YouTube channel. So if you go here, this is like all my RuneScape videos. It's about almost 500 videos. Just my electrical engineering background. I'm making like a smug face, shorts, all my playlists, LinkedIn profile, stuff like that. So basically what I did was, let's go to the bottom. I started by adding my projects. So I created Poke Roster, where you can set up a roster of Pokemon. Does an API called backend. I did my internet usage tracker, it's my Chrome extension. It's my open source project with my friend, more side projects that I built. And then this is where the interview projects come in. So they had, for example, LED diagram sketcher. They wanted me to build something like that. I took it all the way, and then I built this project. I created a post with it. I blasted on social media. And then post it on here so that anyone that comes can now see the other projects I've built. So for example, form builder, security threat app. So as you can see, and then I can also show you my blog. I ended up creating a blog too. I don't know if it's up right now. Yeah, there it is. And then basically shows you everything here, where I would actually do step-by-step breakdowns of some of the projects I've done. So then I created my blog here. And basically, at this point, like, I was basically turning everything that I could into an experience and adding it to my portfolio. So that way, if someone was to look at one project, they get to see the others and all my other experiences. The other thing I was doing was I'd create social media posts for all those projects I built. So I'd send it on LinkedIn, I'd put it on my Twitter, I'd put it on YouTube, like this channel. I'd do a demo video, post on YouTube. That way, like, as many hits as I could get would get attracted to the one post. And yeah, so after time, when I came back from Ireland and Scotland with that trip that I went on with my dad, I did that. So I started building my own website, as you guys saw. I added projects to it. And then pretty much at that point, I was looking for internships and roles and stuff like that. So the way I did this was I was looking for internships, paid or unpaid. I didn't give a fuck what it was going to take. So, like, if it was paid, good, right? But if it wasn't paid, I still want experience. And I had enough savings and stuff left over to kind of just work for free for a while. And if worst case, like, I talked to my parents and stuff, they're like, you know what, like, you can come back to the house, like if like you really have to, or like they were always, they always wanted me to like come back if I ever wanted. So like it was never an issue to go back. But like for me, I was just like, okay, I want to see if I can make this work on my own, right? So I was just looking for exposures. So the next thing I did was I got a unpaid internship at a social media app that I was working at, and then stayed there for about 5 months. Was doing web and iOS development. So I never touched iOS like seriously before, but I did after. So I was using Flutter there. I was working with their team, so I got exposure to a team that was international. There's people in like Malaysia, people in Germany, people in Korea, like a bunch of people from Korea, because like I think the main guy was from Korea, and he was doing an internship there, and then he just met a bunch of developers. So I got a bunch of exposures there. I solved some major bugs for them, and I got a lot of exposure that way. So then once I got traction there, found another company that was also they weren't doing a free internship, but I just kind of reached out to different CEOs and stuff. So I was getting about, and let me just tell you, I did about 6,000 to 8,000 applications. So to paid and unpaid internships and jobs and all that stuff. So I was getting a bunch of interviews just through the sheer volume. And I was doing leak codes on the side as well. So I was doing like 3 leak codes a day, and then you guys could even check my leak code playlists where I was doing easies and mediums, breaking down my thought process. And I was doing that because during the interview process, you have to kind of break that down for the interviewer. Why do you do something? Why do you use this data type? Why do you use this structure? Why are you going through this algorithm the way you're doing it? So like doing it on video really helped me understand A, how to speak concisely and get to the point, and then B, it also adds to my proof stack. Okay, this guy can do leak code without us having to even test him, right? Like an interview could just look at my thought process and look at how I've matured over 150 videos. So I did that, and then I did that unpaid internship. So once I did that for about 5 months, I met another one because I was just reaching out to CEOs and different company owners on LinkedIn. And basically at that point, it was like, I heard a knocking sound. But yeah, basically at that point, it was like, one sec, let me check that. I hear like a knocking. Either way. Yeah, it's not me. So fucking knocking sound, whatever the fuck, I don't care. Anyways, so basically at that point, I was like, okay, now it's time to look for that other role. So I met another CEO, and they brought me on their company. So I was doing front end in React and with Python. So basically I was doing that, and then it was like basically at that point I was like, okay, I could either stay at this company at the social media or just go all in on this, which is a full stack, because I was doing front end on the social media company side. So I was like, okay, do that, or I could do full stack here and get some front end and back end. So I ended up doing that. So I switched over, started doing that, and then now at this point I have like 6 months experience, like almost 6 months experience of doing this unpaid internship, have a bunch of projects, have my blog, have my social media. I was consistently applying. So there's a lot of room to show my skill set to different interviewers. And as I was doing that, as you could see in the, let's go back to the website. Oops. Let me go back to my website. So So as I was doing this, as you could see, I was asking every interviewer what feedback they had for me, and if they gave me critiques on my website, I would fix it. So some of them like would ask like, okay, why is it all like not scrolling smoothly? Where's the blog? Where's the projects? Are they clickable? When you click it, it should open a new tab and not redirect you from the website. So I was getting feedback from these interviewers about the website and what I could do to improve it. So as I was doing it, I was making those improvements right away. I didn't waste a single minute. I would also follow up with these interviewers. So like if I'd send an application, I would look for as many emails as I can from that company and email everyone there. So every application was about 8 or 9 emails. Because I'd find the recruiter, I'd find the person from HR, I'd find the CEO, email all of them. And then, luckily enough, I ended up getting a role through that method, reaching out just over and over and over and over. And I was getting a bunch. So like at that point, I was in the final stage at like 5-6 companies. I was getting like 5 interviews a week. Some people were getting none, right? Because they just weren't hitting the volume, I think. And then on top of that, if you don't have a website or a proof stack, you have to be memorable enough for someone to keep your profile on hand and then want to contact you in the future. So yeah, I think it was a combination of everything. It was like the knowledge from the training platforms, personal projects, the sheer amount of volume for applications, the follow-up, and then coding skills. So like if you're doing leak codes and all that stuff, that all kind of ties in together, and the video content and everything. So like all this kind of really helped to make that transition. And then because of those 2 unpaid internships, like by the time I got there, I understood how to work in a team with people, how to work in full stack, how to work with mobile development, how to work with web development, how to work cross-platform with different people, and solve problems. And basically, that's pretty much how it was done. And then now it's just a matter of consistently outputting. So now, like, learn something new every day on the job, ask questions, have that student mentality where you go in looking at how can I contribute to this team, how can I solve problems for the users, try to understand the customer vision, try to learn about the product and the service and the industry surrounding that. It's not all about the code. Like, don't get too caught up in the code, because the code is just a means of solving the problem. The main thing is solving the customer's problem, right? So in order to do that, you need to understand the customer and show the people that you're trying to interview for that, hey, I can code, but we all know the main focus here is to solve the customer's problem. And once they know that, they're like, okay, this person is not just like a code monkey, right? Like, this person is actually thinking of a plan, trying to identify a solution and try to work with a team to create the best solution for this customer in the most efficient manner. And if you can do that, you'll be okay. I'm not saying like you have to do 8,000 applications, but if you at least implement some of these steps, and you might be able to get a similar outcome. And I just wanted to share that story because like some of you guys don't have computer science degrees, just like I didn't. And some of you guys might be thinking of transitioning the software and might be thinking it's intimidating. And I just want to say, if I could do it, anyone could. And the other thing is, like, the world's kind of your oyster. If you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to consistently study every day, put in a few applications every day, try to build something for yourself, if you genuinely enjoy programming, I think there's room for you to get in. And I don't think AI is at a point where it's just going to take over. Because I've been on projects on different teams, worked in different apps, and like, you still need people. You need bodies on the ground, like on the front lines, writing code, going through customer requirements, understanding things. Sometimes the code base is so big, you can't even fit that in an AI prompt, right? And the AI needs context. So like if your file is 10,000 lines, right? The AI, you can't even paste like 300 lines plus. So it's like you need a person with understanding to come in, look at a piece of code, and then understand that, because you can't paste all that in AI right now, at least. So yeah, with genuine passion, effort, and consistency, um, yeah, it's definitely possible to enter this field, even with or without a computer science degree, as long as you're showing output, if you're showing earnest effort, like it's all doable. But yeah, I hope this kind of gave you some insights. This is just coming from an electrical engineering background to software. Um, it's always been my passion, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you enjoyed that, please like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below, because maybe someone else might, or even you or someone else, or someone you know, might be thinking of going on this path and might be intimidated. And I just want to say, like, it's definitely worth it. It's definitely rewarding, and I'd do it again 100 times over, if I could. And yeah, it's the best decision I ever made. With that, I'll leave you guys. Peace.